Yay, and welcome to the Forsaken Podcast. I'm Grim Reaper, joined with Rygothran
Hello.
and Magick.
Hey.
Okay,
So-
before we get started, I gotta say, last night I had a pretty high temp, and so it's gone now. But I didn't get much sleep, so if I stumble, laugh all you want.
If you stumble, we will catch you. We will not let you fall.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, speak for yourself. I mean, yes, that's exactly what we'll do.
Speaking of stumbling, sometimes when it comes to character creation, I think about the combo that I want to make, and part of that combo is the cabal that I ultimately want to go into. Lately, I haven't wanted to play anything because I don't know if I'm out of ideas, if I'm missing something, because there's some underutilized combos out there, aren't there? Like, your go-to combos, but it's like, are there some missed synergies that we haven't seen in a while? Is there some stuff people are missing out on?
I think there are always synergies out there that maybe people haven't picked up on. I don't know, maybe only a few, but I think I don't really know. I lost my train of thought, but I think there could be some. I guess if we're talking about race class combos and that are not used very often, there could be better utilized combos. There could be little skills or something that we could add on. I mean, I don't know. There's a whole array of things that we could actually do. But I was thinking about this, and my original thought was maybe we should just add stats. I mean, for instance, if you're a gnome warrior, so to speak, give them, because I mean a warrior is naturally going to have more strength, you would think, right? Because they're swinging swords and weapons all day, they're going to be stronger than.
It's part of their discipline for their guild.
Yeah.
Like their guild master probably has them doing push-ups and shit like that,
Yes.
I think the only problem with that is really that at what point does gnome just start feeling like a human or just another class? And when does it lose its identity? And then at that point, if you do increase the stats, then it's well, you have your choice of gnome or of human, and it's just all what do I want to role play? You get what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So to me, it would probably be better to do bonuses or some kind of skills, special, I mean, for instance, female drow, how they get the little spider summoning thing, which is kind of a little cool roleplay tool. I don't know how actually useful it is. This damn cat is.
I don't think it's very useful, honestly. I mean, it's nice for flavor, but I think that's about where it ends. It has its uses sometimes, but generally.
I mean, one thing that to me that sets Feral apart, and probably why it's so good, is all the little. I mean, they got Fury, they got the mini haste. I think that's all they get, but I mean, or Slith, they have the tail trip, they have depending on the alignment, they have shed or whatever.
Well,
I think.
Slith,
go ahead.
Granted, ferals are usually sought after, even despite their vulnerability. But Slith, there haven't been too many Sliths floating around. Yeah, I mean, they get their little stuff and the eyelids for the evils and all the Sliths get shed. But how many are actually running around? We had a couple pop up a while back, but currently there's only one that I see.
Why do you think that is?
Because there's always a better choice.
Probably.
True. I mean, that's the same for Stone Giant. Why would you play a Stone Giant whenever you can play an Ogre?
Yeah,
don't know.
and people have used that argument quite often.
Yeah. So, I mean, what can you do to make Stone Giant more where people actually want to play it?
Without taking away from other races.
Yeah, with that, yeah. I mean, I think some people have suggested like giving a bonus to physical weapons, or maybe like a certain type, like bash, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Damn
Give
type.
them a hometown and some flavor. Just give them a cooler, like lore or something, you know, because they're kind of just whatever, you know.
Which, where the hell did giants come from?
Anywhere apparently.
Yeah, they don't have a set thing. The closest we have are the storm giants and crystal mirror, but beyond that.
Or
And that's not even their
they're
hometown.
saying fire giants come from volcano, maybe, or at least that's what some people have role played in the past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which makes sense. It makes sense to me, you know. They come from some place where because they're what, like violent and stupid, you know. I picture them being kind of barbaric by nature, so it's like, why not come from a barbaric, you know, kind of just harsh environment.
They're largely
Anyway.
nomadic and tribal, but I mean, like, where do they come from, though? I mean, where are these tribes located? They got to be located somewhere in some kind of central area,
Where
right?
are they nomads?
Or they just...
Where are they tribal?
I mean, it's like, I guess you could say the Ford. There's a bunch of giants in the Ford,
but they're not fire giants or stone
Right.
giants, really. They're
And
just giants.
You find them. The only fire giants I really know of in game are the ones you see, the loggers in Elium. You know,
Yeah, true.
which, you know, they're woodworkers. That doesn't sound nomadic and tribal. I don't understand. They're lumberjacks.
Well, they're cutting down the trees, and that's why you got. Well,
To do what
Yeah,
with? Who are they cutting them
they're-
down for?
They're
Why are they
migrant
killing
labor.
Garmex, dude.
Dude, have
Yeah,
you
but
done that quest there?
I don't remember why they're cutting them down. Does it
The
say?
fire.
It doesn't say
They're cutting
why.
them down because they need
just,
firewood because they're fire giants. Duh.
That's
Oh.
a bit of...
No, well, I mean, there's a couple. I say holes in the lore. It's not that they're holes. There's just some empty patches in the lore, you know, or it's not. Some of the races are kind
Well,
of
there
like
you
whatever.
go. I mean, to my knowledge, fire giants don't have a health file yet, a racial profile. So why don't you hop in and give them one, Grim?
Sure. Sure,
Or
why not?
anybody else for that matter.
Yeah.
Fire giants are found in the mountainsides, especially in volcanic wastes.
There you go.
Is that
That's
their
the health
entire
file.
health file?
No,
That's-
there's more to it. I just don't want to read the whole thing and waste people's time.
Right.
Hellfire. That's the Hellfire.
That's all you're reading from it?
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna read from it. My reading's not very good. So yeah, so like these underutilized combos, I think Stone Giant being one, Drow Warrior, or Drow, even Drow Blade Master is kind of underutilized, even though it's supposed to be pretty good. You don't see very many of them.
Yeah. Saw a Drow Warrior recently that did all right. That
Yeah.
Barbarian probably would have been better even if it was a Gladiator.
Yeah, maybe so.
You know, I tried a Drow Warrior for a little while and I got used as a toilet essentially. I just went ahead and put it down because it just wasn't worth the headache.
Or let's see here, what Dwarf and Duergar are honestly not used much across the board. You know.
No, yeah, I think those
We've
are.
had a discussion about why that is in the previous podcast.
Yeah. And it boils down to too many water weapons.
Well, so they say, but we also determined that there's actually more fire weapons than water weapons, but that doesn't stop anybody from playing Feral.
Yeah, I did we determine that? Is there
Yeah.
more fire weapons?
Yeah, we can rattle them off again right quick if you want to.
No, let's not waste the time. But let's see, like gnome. What would be the races that we feel like are not great at melee?
Gnome for sure, fairy for sure.
Gnome, fairy.
Elves and half elves and all their variants.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the elven variants.
Slith. I don't know.
Slith is Slith bad at melee? I mean, there's a Slith warrior out there, but I've never really seen him.
I think Slip could be pretty good.
Have you played one?
In theory, they should be good.
should be.
No, I haven't played one. I mean, I have before, but not for years.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty decent. They're not the go-to because people tend to because there's an avian running around at the moment too. And they've got their perks as well over Slith and vice versa. But yeah, everybody goes to Giants for the size and so they can get the extra size and for holding a two-handed weapon in one hand and things of that nature.
That's probably the kicker right there for the melees, being able to hold a two-handed weapon in one hand.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. I wouldn't say that's everything. I would say that's definitely a huge boon. I don't know. So let me ask you a question. Like, what would you do with Gnome? What do you guys think would help with Gnome? Other than removing the mental vulnerability, which in my opinion doesn't make sense for them to have.
No, that definitely does. I thought it was. Do they actually have a mental vulnerability?
They've got a mental and charm vuln.
Mental and charm.
Okay. I mean, yeah, mental vuln doesn't make any sense considering they have the highest wisdom of anything in the game.
Well, according to their help file, it almost does in a way the way that they describe it in the help file, because they describe them being so
gullible or something.
Yeah,
gullible, scatterbrained, and trusting, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, though, is unlike all the other races, gnomes had a vulnerability. And it changed. So they had to come up with a new reason why they're like this. Because before, they weren't scatterbrained and so on and so forth. It was kind of shoehorned in.
Well, it goes along with that kind of that inventor thing, really, where they're inventors and you've seen like, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of Back to the Future. Where
you're going on the whole Doc Brown trope?
What's up?
Are you going on the whole Doc Brown trope?
Yes, I mean, look at Doc Brown. He's kind of scatterbrained as hell, right?
And the Nutty Professor, and so on and so forth. Yes, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that inventors or all inventors are.
No, of course not. Would you think that they're maybe eccentric?
Eccentric, like yes, but that doesn't mean that you're daydreamy and you're prone to bouts of autism, as it were.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that they should be, but that's how it's described in the help file.
Yes.
But yeah,
and they were like, "Oh, let's go ahead and give them this phone." Okay, how can we justify it? Which is easy to do.
Yeah, but my whole point is why do they have it in the first place? I mean, do they need it? Is Gnome like that great of a race that they need the vulnerability? Because they don't really get any advantages. The only thing they really get is a really high wisdom.
Honestly,
the other stats suck.
I don't think they do. I think we could do away with the vuln entirely and not have to worry about it. If you want to look at it, halflings are the other small race, not tiny like fairies, but they're the other small race. They have a better dex, granted, not the intelligence and the wisdom of it, but they that's where I was going with that. They've got a physical, or excuse me, a magical resist on top of that. And now they've got the bonus to swords and daggers. And what do gnomes have? Basically nothing.
Yeah, they're incredibly intelligent, incredibly wise, but that's it. Yeah, I think the whole mental vulnerability it doesn't make sense for Gnome, and I would say we should get rid of it personally. But that aside, what else could we do to make like a Gnome melee, a Gnome ranger, a Gnome warrior, a little more viable? I think personally, a lot of people have brought up giving them some kind of like cool mechanical skills almost. Like it kind of goes along with the inventor, and personally I think that that's actually not a bad idea. Something, I think someone suggested the other day giving them like dirt kick where you can do it like one room away. I think that was maybe Wade did that. said that, but I'm not saying go with that. But stuff in that vein, something like
Well,
that.
that would be great and all, but the thing is though is we're back to what everybody tends to trend towards the giants anyway. And if you look at, for example, like the Slith and the Adians, Slith have different flavors, and nobody picks them. So even if you gave gnomes different flavors, people are still going to trend toward giants anyway.
True, maybe so, but that doesn't mean that other races shouldn't at least be viable, right? I think that's just a matter of opinion, and I think that some people think that it's fine the way it is, and some people want to play those. Some people want to play a little gnome warrior. Obviously,
Okay.
Loth.
Let's go ahead into the large people. I mean, you've got fire giants, you got some storm ogres, and minotaur. How many minotaurs have you seen? How many minotaur warriors have you seen? Like,
not enough.
More than gnomes, granted, but they are a better, quote unquote, they are a better race for being a warrior, but they're not seen either, really.
True. Yeah, you don't see many minotaur warriors.
Everybody goes ogre or fire giant, and the occasional storm giant on the way to crusader.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that Stone Giant has going against it. I'd rather pick a Minotaur over Stone Giant.
Yeah, and still, you've still got the giants that aren't played, even if you decided that you were going to give them more flavor.
Yeah.
So you've got literally, well, we've got 18 races, and all of them can be warriors, basically, except for fairies, and who can be a warrior? Except for fairies, illithids, and werebeasts.
Yeah.
And how many? Which combos do we see the most? We see fire giants and we see ogres. Hell, we don't even see dwarf warriors really.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like I said, we talked about that before with water weapons. I mean, the only viable way to play a dwarf would be to pick exotic to where you can disarm.
Even before that, we still didn't see them.
Yeah, maybe not. I guess you got to want to roleplay that. I don't know. People typically are going to lean towards whatever is the best. Whatever they can pick that's going to give them the best results is what they'll go for.
Yeah.
That seems to be kind of the thing to do.
What you're overcoming with a gnome is you're overcoming small. So you've already got a 2-size disadvantage there before enlarge. Hell, you've got a 1-size disadvantage against medium-sized creatures. You've got the low strength, you've got the low dex, you've got the inability to hold a 2-handed weapon in one hand and dual wield or hold a shield should you desire. You've got all these major obstacles to overcome. Low con too, although the trains can kind of compensate for that a little bit.
Yeah.
But you've got all these that you need to overcome in order to make them quote unquote viable.
That's true. I mean, maybe you could give them some stilts. That way they're taller.
What if you made it so that they could read? They kept like scrolls or something.
But would that really make them viable?
I don't know.
No.
It would help. It would help.
It would help, yes, but no.
I mean, that's what the whole goal is: viability,
Okay,
not necessarily
about,
like being overpowered, but just viable in general. Why can gnome even be warrior?
Sure. What about scroll staves and wands?
I still don't think that would help.
Damn.
In that case, why don't you just go ahead and join Herald?
Because
then you'd be a herald, dude. What if you want to join something else? We're gonna be
What can you get from those 3 items that you can't get from consumables? What, missile shield?
Transient decapitation? Critical vaporize?
Yeah, I know, but scrolls suck to use in combat.
You can't open with those items. Or you have to open with them, rather.
Yeah, you have to open with them. It's a good
you
opener.
have to open with them.
But check it out, man. What about, okay, you got all that stuff on a gnome, scroll station wands, check this out. Then all of a sudden, bam, you're in Syndicate. Then all of a sudden, you're probably not looking so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't think that
you get that floaty that does that thing. I don't know if we can talk about it. And then we get
which floaty?
What is
it's a
it?
shield. I think you're thinking of.
I'm pretty sure it's floaty. Isn't it a floaty? The Eye of Fear.
Oh, Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You get a little bit of that going on. Yeah, you get a little bit of a Cabal skill going on. You know what Cabal skill I'm talking about?
What, Call Void?
No, we're
No,
talking about
that's right,
Syndicate here.
Syndicate. Yeah, that one
Just-
Cabal skill that helps you do
Just
that
say
one.
it. Just say the
Out
damn
with
call
it.
skill.
Okay, hey man, I'm not trying to get in trouble. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble.
Okay,
As long as we're not
elder
discussing
or leader skill?
Blur. I'm talking about blur.
That's not a Cabal. Oh, well, kind of.
Yeah, it is. Oh yeah. Then you get
It's
those
also settlement.
you get those other things going on, those other Cabal skills that help you with
Oh, Jesus Christ.
combat, man. Gives you a little bit of that auto, you know what?
You're beating around the fucking bush. Just out
Auto
with it.
blind.
Yeah, get a little bit of that
Jesus.
going on. Get a little bit of that auto, you know what else? that skill that makes you know what all over the place, so you can, you know what?
Grim, you're glad that you're not next to me because I'd be slapping you right now.
Get a little bit of that throat cut going on. Get a little bit of that blur. Blur's an extra. Yeah, get a little. You get all that stuff going on. Put them to sleep. Before you know it, damn, dude, you've woken them up with a transient decapitation.
And then they're probably just going to bash you to death.
You're gonna
after
beat the
you've
shit
done all
out of you.
that. Okay? You're still going to fucking lose. Pardon my French.
Well, that goes that idea.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think it would be cool to have, like I said, some kind of unique skills for each race if they're going to be playing melee, if they're not a melee race. But then again, isn't that why they came out with Blade Master to begin with? Which doesn't help Gnome, by the way, because they're shit decks. But
Yeah.
I mean, they came out with Blade Master because it would help the higher decks, lower strength races.
Yes.
But yeah.
I mean, maybe gnomes just really aren't meant to be melee characters. So I mean, that's. I mean, are there any stories of valiant gnome warriors?
In
No.
Dungeons and Dragons, sure there are. I mean,
Well, if you're gonna
especially
go
like
into
I can't say the damn word.
If you're
Snurvedlin?
Oh, the
Snurf
evil
Nebula,
gnomes.
Yeah, the
If you're
Underdark
gonna-
gnomes.
Yeah, if you're going to start drawing D&D parallels, you also have to look at how they're made. You don't have racial stats based off of race. You get a couple bonuses, but you largely roll what you want.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'm not trying to compare it. I'm just saying.
Half work.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to compare it. I'm just saying that I don't know what I'm saying, but basically, there are some gnomes in lore before, I guess, other than Forsaken Lands, have decent warriors.
Not really. I mean, in a lot of the fairy tales and whatnot, gnomes are little ankle biters with conical hats on them. Basically drawing from the German gnomes. So I mean, they're nothing more than brownies and pixies and sprites in that regard.
Well, gnomes suck.
Well, maybe they shouldn't be allowed to be these other these other classes, and just stop kidding people.
I think it's fine. That way people can punish themselves. Some people just like to punish themselves.
Gnome Ranger, is there anything there?
The gnome rangers do get a bonus.
Actually, I felt like I did pretty good with Gnome Ranger. I didn't do great, but I did better than I thought I was.
They get a bonus to fletchery and archery.
Yeah, I was an archer, and I thought I did fairly well. But my issue came with PVE. Player versus environment is where I really struggled with the Gnome Ranger.
Really, and that's where Archer's supposed to shine, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. But it sucked for me. I couldn't defeat anything.
Well, the part where PVE is great for the archers is the fact that they can clear all the ads and the mobs and whatnot on the way to the big boss. But I think what Rygo's saying is he had troubles with the big bosses.
Yeah, the big bosses. Okay. I just couldn't beat them.
Is it a HP issue or?
I
don't know. It's just a race issue.
The parry issue, like I said, the HP issue is primarily offset by
crappy parry from low dex, crappy dodge from low strength.
From low strength, have horrible strength to begin with. So yeah, I mean, weapon selection is limited, etc., etc.
Which speaking about parry being dex based and dodge being strength based, because I think a lot of people think it makes zero sense, and honestly, on the surface, it makes zero sense. However, whenever you look at the game itself, it makes perfect sense. Because if parry was based off of strength and dodge was based off of high dexterity, well, then mages would really
Yeah.
suffer, because mages are typically high dex races, and all they have is parry. So
Right.
that's why it is that way.
I think and I think that right there is fundamentally wrong, because it's like a parry is a skill-based weapon maneuver. So I would imagine warriors and like combatants with that are weapon fighters, I would imagine them being able to parry. I don't see why a mage would be parrying something. It makes more sense for them to dodge. Anyway.
I mean, okay, yeah, you could sit there and you could flip them around to where strength is parry and dex is dodge, and then give all the mages dodge, but then dodge works into other things like bash avoidance.
Well, but also one thing you have to look at is, then what does it matter if you disarm their weapon or not? You're taking like a big skill from warriors. Whenever you disarm a mage's weapon, they're really vulnerable because all they have is parry. That's just one of the way that the game is designed.
Yeah, and if you gave them dodge, then even if they were weaponless, they would still have their defense.
They would have a chance, and it makes more. To me, it makes more sense anyway, because how many mages are running around with a disarmable weapon?
Well, it doesn't matter. You can be a warrior that can disarm no matter what.
Right. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like mages having dodge makes sense, both logically. It makes sense across the board.
It makes sense logically, but as the game is designed, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yes. Sadly, I agree there. Giving mages dodge would be mechanically unwise.
Now, you could give them some other skill that is based off of dex, that if you disarm their weapon, then it affects, their defense, but otherwise, parry's already there. It works.
Does it though, dude?
It has for 20 years. Not to say that doesn't mean it shouldn't be changed, but
yeah, I mean the stat tie-ins, the stat tie-ins don't really, I don't know, it doesn't make sense logically. I understand things making sense mechanically, but shouldn't there be like happy like union of mechanically and logically?
There's tons of shit that doesn't make sense logically. I mean, how does an avian warrior beat down a giant warrior? That doesn't really make sense.
With Cabal
How is
ability.
a giant warrior able to hit an avian warrior when they're flying around?
I mean, there's a lot of shit that doesn't make sense.
No, I agree. I think, and I mean, what you just said, I think it should be hard. Like a fairy thief, I think a fairy thief should be one of the hardest things to hit. Period. I mean, come on, dude. How hard is that shit to hit? Bashing a fairy should be nigh impossible.
Maybe you should make it to where they're really hard to hit, but they get like a physical and magical bone. So whenever they do get hit, they get hit really hard.
Fuck, they already get hit pretty hard, don't they? They only have like 2 HP at level 50.
Because if a little fairy, if you're swinging a club at a fairy,
sure,
and most of the time you miss, but it's that one shot that's going to take him out.
Yeah, that's that home run swing. Sure. Yeah, they should be really hard to hit. I mean, honestly, if they were super hard to hit, if they were like the hardest thing to hit in the game, yeah, I could see them taking like super damage from everything, just like an incoming damage boost, like across the board, except for like magic shit, but for any kind of physical attack, any kind of melee attack, I could see them getting wrecked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the topics here.
You ever hit like a June? No. Have you ever hit like a June bug out of the air with a baseball bat?
No, I haven't.
You know what I mean, though. You can imagine what that'd be like, though.
Yes, I can imagine.
That's what
Alright.
you're talking about with super fairy damage.
I mean, it sounds like we talked about it a lot, but we didn't come up with any kind of conclusions.
I don't think there are any conclusions that we can come up with. It's not how we are. I mean, people are feel free to give their suggestions, but beyond that, I mean,
Yeah.
we're kind of at an impasse because there are so many things that you need to overcome in order to make an quote unquote unviable race a more viable one.
Yeah, true. I just think that we can do it with some clever, like add-ons, if you will.
Like giving him unique skills that are unique to the combo, like unique combo
yes.
skills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. If we're going to look at that, what can we do for the halfling warrior? What can we
I
give
don't think
them?
the halfling warrior needs anything. Halfling's already a strong race, and the warriors, while not great, aren't terrible. I mean, I think in certain cabals they are viable.
They might be one of the
But
strongest combos in the game in some instances.
Yeah, but what I would probably say is, I don't know, some way to get out of bash. Almost like a bash avoidance.
But that's their vulnerability.
Being small, yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm just saying, like I mean, how do you make a race that has issue with things better?
I mean, pick nimble.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now you're using a perk in order to try to cover a fallibility of the combo.
I mean, what does halfling have against it as far as being a warrior? What, strength?
Primarily.
Yeah. Strength.
But you still don't see a lot of them running around. Last one I even heard of, I think, was Tricks.
Which I didn't feel like did terrible. It was a shield warrior, I think, in Gladiator. I want to say.
It wasn't that night.
He also had an avatar right after that. I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking about this. I guess they're done and gone now. But he had a War Master, Shield Warrior, and then he had that avatar as well. That was right after. But I don't think he died a lot. But I just don't think that he could get the kills. And I think that was maybe the problem.
That's probably a huge issue with it because you can't, with the halfling warrior, how are you supposed to gun it, to get that kill? You can't really get after somebody.
Yeah, I don't know, but
because halfling bash is like what, having somebody throw like a beach ball at you, or like an oven mitt. Is it that kind of a bash?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, but there's other races and classes that's the way that they are, right? I mean, for instance, like Blade Master, you're not going to lag them unless you have. Well, I guess you could with the critical strikes, but I don't know exactly how that works. But Ranger, you don't have any lag.
You got to throw that shit.
Paladin, you don't have any lag. So there's some classes.
To get that.
Tracker.
You need a tracker for throw.
Yeah, but even like the shield throw, it's not great.
You need to have, 107 at least for a Blade Master to lag. So you've got to dedicate at least, you've got up to 4 race types that you can get on there.
Okay, so there you go. So I don't know, just another class that is not doesn't have a reliable lag where basically you have to chase them around to beat them. Which I mean, so I don't see how that's that big of an issue, but that is a warrior staple, right? Bash to keep them in place. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe make it to where they're bash. I don't know, somehow. To me, it's funny because if you look at like a halfling realism, anyways, looking at a halfling fighting a fire giant, it's like, were they bashing their leg? They're like bashing their ankle.
Yeah, it shouldn't even affect them.
Yeah, so
It should be like your son trying to headbutt you, or like slam into your leg. Can your son knock you off balance? Can he lag you if
oh
he's
yeah, hell yeah, if he
full
runs
force at
at
you?
me, he sure can, especially whenever
Yes, you can.
he'll
And there you
knock
go.
you right in the groin with his head.
There you go. Right there, groin head. That
What?
that bash
Groin head?
ability. Yeah,
Groin bash?
Yeah, exactly. Like they
Give him
bash full force into your sack, and that lags you. You're like, oh, unless they're fighting like, I guess, a female character in which you can like plow headlong into her, into her ovaries or something.
Yeah, we're not gonna go with groin head though.
Well,
I think like groin bash should be good.
yeah.
And then maybe you could wear like a cod piece. We can make some like cod piece equipment that protects from it.
Yeah, that specifically protects from groin bash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You have to wear the reinforced cod piece.
uh, yeah,
Yeah. So,
but it would be kind of cool to give them a reliable lag, I guess.
I mean, and
Rely on that.
Gnome could do something like that too. Like they take a swing at your knees or something. Some kind of cheap shot.
Yeah, well, I think they should have like a little punch gun. Like those guns that have like
With a
fists on
boxing
the
glove
end.
that boxing glove comes out.
Yeah. Groin punch.
Yeah, that's a little bit silly.
Yeah, I know, but to me, gnomes are silly. The whole
That's
race is
true.
kind of silly. Everyone plays
Yeah,
them like that too.
sure. That'd be cool if they had like steam powered like muscle enhancements or whatever. So if you pick war like some kind of bonus and it does like random steam damage.
Yeah, it maybe be cool to have like like selectables where like if it depends on who you're fighting. So if you're fighting like a giant warrior, you have like uh, a steam suit or something that and maybe we're getting out of the vein of fantasy adventure or whatever.
Well, there's a in certain zones, like even in the offices, there's that room where it's got like a machine in there. Like, what
Oh,
the fuck?
true.
You know what I mean? So
True,
we've
and we got
broken that
gear,
wall.
the whole gear area.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So let's
I guess
not.
we're not way off, but yeah, it would be cool to like maybe like if they are going to fight a melee, they kind of like build a little suit that helps them just like against bash. You know what I mean? And it takes up like an equipment, like a torso slot or something. So you have some downside to it. It's not great AC, but it gives you some bash resistance. Or if you're fighting something and you need higher dex or higher strength, then you build something. I mean, that would be kind of cool.
Hell
Some
yeah.
kind of selectables or something as a gnome. I mean, I think there's a lot of cool ways to make these non-viable combos a little better, but it's just it's time, thought, and then actually
Yeah.
putting it in.
Well, yeah. Then I mean, everybody it'd have to be agreed upon. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to know the process of validating what goes into the game and what doesn't. But I can see that being a hang up.
It's pretty simple. Typically, a forum post is created and we have discussion about it, and then we go from there.
Yeah. It'd be cool if there was a technomancer class for gnomes. I don't know if that's going too far out there.
I actually thought of like a quest class for gnomes called Tinkerer.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it's been brought up on a couple of occasions by various different people.
Yeah, there's some excuse me, there's some cool things that you could do. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff we could do, but it all comes down to like time investment.
Sure.
So.
And is it worth it? I bet if the release of the new, Tinkerer Q class came out, I bet you'd see an influx of old heads coming out to try to check it out, see what's going on.
Yeah, probably so, but I mean, they're gonna hang around and then they're gonna get pissed off when they die and then they're gonna leave.
Maybe so, maybe no. This game can be oddly addicting You know, when you hit that right, there's certain pockets of FL that you can hit. You know, where you're just having the perfect time, like the stars align, and just you're overwhelmed with joy by what you're playing. You know, and it doesn't feel like sometimes it can feel like not a grind, but I guess I mean it's a personal thing. You know, sometimes it just feels, or I anyway feel stale sometimes playing some things, and it's just not happening.
Yeah,
But
I
I
know.
think we all feel that from time to time.
Well, yeah. For me, whenever I go in those situations, I just take a step back for a couple days, and I try to basically think about stuff for my character, where I want to go, because obviously I don't have a direction, and that's why I'm losing
Right.
interest, and so I try to come up with some kind of direction, what I want to do next, what I want to be involved in or start up, and how to go about doing that.
You know, a lot of times if I think too far into the future for my character, that's when I end up hitting the wall because I'll have thought too much about it, and then I don't want to think about it ever again because I've thought too much, and I've blown my thought
A lot.
Yeah,
processors
I
out.
don't really have that issue.
Oh, well, I guess that's just me.
Yeah.
But I guess when you have a high, you're working with a supercharged brain versus, your fuel efficient brain. I get it. So it's easy to blow a head gasket, I guess, when you're working with this much brain power.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Okay. No, I understand. I'm trying to look at other topics here.
Yeah, for as much as criticism we've gotten on other topics, there for damn sure aren't a lot of ideas for things that people want us to talk about.
There's plenty of ideas, and they're all Ren suggested topics.
Yeah.
Ren's Vert.
Well, I think part of the reason was he just wanted to see how long he can go and whether or not he could piss off Grim with how often he's suggesting topics.
You don't want to get into it with me like that, man. That's just everybody's just gonna die stupid.
That's why I ignore you guys like that.
Probably a smart thing.
It makes
Probably
you
a very
happy.
smart thing.
I just don't.
Well, let me ask you this: what are some currently available Cabal combos? Because this is really what I was touching on at the very beginning. What are some potentially strong Cabal synergies that can exist currently that we either haven't seen in a while, or that like what are some sleeper combos?
Sleeper combos.
Mm-hmm. Some that you don't see widely used.
Anything Stalker.
Anything what?
Anything Stalker.
Oh, anything
Watcher
Stalker?
Stalker.
Is that a powerful sub Cabal?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
How do you RP something like that?
Kill
You're a
anything
watcher.
unnatural.
Yeah.
Rah, rah, rah.
Tribunals suck. Destroy.
Anarchy? Are they about anarchy?
Well, Stalkers, I think, is less about tribunal and more about
Yeah, they are
the
less,
undead
but
demon.
they are less about attacking people, that are in tribunal. However, that doesn't mean they're still a watcher, and so they're still all about nature, and they're still, for instance, if let's say a tribunal is on, and there's a watcher on. There's actually two watchers on. One's a stalker, and one's a warder. The warder should be the one who's fighting the tribunal. However, and this is all circumstantial. Obviously, if the warder's brand new and it's a really tough tribunal opponent, it's been around for a long time, then maybe the stalker should take lead. But more often than not, because of the roleplay of the Cabal, the warder should be the one fighting the tribunal. Now, if the warder logs off, then the stalker, by all means, go after the tribunal. That's how it should be played. And same thing for undead or um, any unnatural race, avatar, whatever. The stalker should typically be fighting them if there's a stalker and a warder on, and then if there's no stalker, the warder should still fight them.
But it's still ultimately up to the Cabal then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. At least that's whenever I was the Cabal M. That's the way that it was told that I needed to run it.
Right.
As a new Cabal M. But that's really the Cabal M's decision. So whatever Omen Storm says, I guess, is what it breaks down to.
What is okay? Here's what we can do. I'm curious about this. Let's start with Watcher. What is Watcher's deal? What is their background? What do they do? What is their actual mission statement?
I would say they're all about nature and destroying anything unnatural or anything encroaching on nature, like cities. I mean, that's why they raid cities, because cities are basically, they tear down nature to build their cities, or anything unnatural like Avatar or undead, because they go against the natural order of things.
Because they're divinely inspired. Like undeads are born from being blessed by the gods of death, and avatars are blessed by the gods of light.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Avatar is kind of. I think maybe they go after Avatar just for balance purposes, but yeah, it's unnatural. And certainly undead and vampire and lich are unnatural, because you're not really supposed to live after you're dead. So, but it's basically like you're not. Whenever you get taken over by an avatar, you're not really yourself anymore, I guess.
Right.
Not quite to the extent of demon, but yeah.
Yeah.
What about a Cabal like Nexus? What's their mission statement? Like we know they're evil, but why are they? What are they?
Chaos.
Chaos. Cause chaos and death and destruction.
That's it.
I mean, hell, the Cabal was chaos.
Yeah,
before,
it was chaos. Yeah.
So.
And you deal with chaos and demons and summoning all that.
Oh, you got Volgi here. I mean, he could put in
Yeah,
his 2
Volg, what's up? I'll read off what he says.
Is he saying anything?
Or we, well, yeah, he's typing. We can always okay.
Creating chaos, however that manifests.
Creating chaos, however that manifests. Okay. So there you go. That's what Nexus is. Yeah, we should really have the Cabal leaders in here to talk about what specifically.
Yeah. So if they're about creating chaos, don't you think they kind of be a natural enemy to Tribunal? And Tribunal about maintaining order or law, which is, law is the opposite of chaos, right?
No,
not in FL really.
Not really. I mean, you could use laws to create chaos.
Yeah, there's some good examples out there.
How? What examples?
People sleeping in.
Yeah, I was gonna say sleeping in town kind of, causes some people to panic.
Or there's one recently where taxing people or something for doing something.
Oh, no, that whole tax thing was to rebuild Valmiran.
I thought it was really going to build a robot army.
No,
I thought that was the underlying trickery.
The facade was it's to rebuild Valmiran, but he reappropriated funds to build his own little robot army.
Yeah.
Because he's evil.
Yeah,
yes.
that was a gross misuse of power there. Beating up and imprison. I got jailed at level 6 for not paying taxes on one of my characters.
Yeah, we had we had to go back and say, hey, look, if they're a certain level, you don't want to ask them for taxes because it was
Well,
getting a little ridiculous.
I got out of it several times because I told them just straight up that the law was you could be taxed if you were a member of the three cities. And I told him that my hometown was none of the three cities, so he can go stuff himself.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
I did that too, but that didn't matter. I still got arrested.
Oh no, he didn't arrest me.
It may have been before they got a talking to or whatever, but I got had at a very low level, and I was not a member of any of those cities. I was like, dude, I don't even live here. He's like, I don't care. Dude went and came and found me while I was hunting outside of a city to tell me to pay up.
Yeah, well, that was the law. It was actually not a bad law considering. I mean, it was kind of funny. But yeah, we had to eventually kind of tell them, nah, this is not going to work with you doing it this way. You know, we got new players here and they don't know what's going on, and suddenly you're asking them to give you 5,000 gold. It's like, nah, I'm not going to.
Yeah, new players would have trouble getting a hold of 5,000 gold, much less do it monthly.
Yeah.
Or
however long. Okay, so moving along, War Master, what's their whole deal? What are they about?
Battle, fight, battle.
Battle.
Honor, fight, battle.
Honor, combat, self-reliance.
And killing mages, right?
No.
That would be self-reliance.
That would be Warlord. Warlord doesn't exist anymore.
Are you saying that War Master kind of carries over some of those traits from yesteryear? Because a lot of War Masters uphold that whole "I hate you" mage thing. I mean, they are at war with Savant like permanently, you know.
Yeah, I think that's bleed over from Warlord, because Warlord, it was they hated mages, they hated magic.
Mm-hmm. And War Master doesn't necessarily have to be that way. It's just kind of carried over.
Hell, a sub-cabal uses magic, so
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Barbarian uses magic all the time, so no, their three tenets are honor, physical strength, and self-reliance.
Right.
Those are their three major values. It says here in the help file. Sometimes you can actually read the help file and it has useful information.
It actually helpful.
Who knew, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes not so much.
Okay. And Savant is they're the keepers of the time stream, right? Isn't that their whole thing?
That's what has been lately, yes. Due to their whole time focus, skills and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Syndicate. They are a crime syndicate?
Yes.
And basically. they kill people for what? Because it's not for it's been told to me quite a few times it's not necessarily for profit.
It's a business.
They kill for business, which is for what?
Business.
Yeah, but business.
It's for growing the family. I mean, it's for the family's interests. They kill.
They're like the mafia.
They're a special interest. They're a special interest group that kills in the name of that special interest group.
No, they're a family that people take out contracts with, and they take people out. Or they're the family and they have merchants who sell stuff, and
they're an organization.
Get
they're
money.
An organization, to get money. But they don't necessarily kill for profits.
Well, that depends on your character's roleplay, I suppose. The family itself is killing for profit. They want the money. The characters in the family might have other motives as far as why they're a part of that organization. It could be for profit. It could be because they like to hunt. It could be many reasons. Maybe they feel like they have to.
Yeah, maybe they do.
Maybe they got caught up in the syndicate, and now they're the syndicate's bitch.
Whoa, that's strong wording.
Well, it's justified too, because they're syndicate's bitch.
Yeah.
Okay. And Tribunal, they are. I thought Tribunal was going to evolve into something else. I thought Tribunal was kind of just like a halfway point from, because it was like Justice fell down when Tribunal rose up as like a militia type thing. I thought that it was going to evolve again into being called like Empire or something, something
Well,
kind of like.
Kind of. I mean, the whole idea behind Tribunal was dissolution of the Justice Cabals and the Nobility Cabal and merge them together. That's why you have Council and you have Adjudicator.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing. It annoys the hell out of me that the leader in, council is like the king. That it annoys the hell out of me. What's the purpose of having royal or noble if all you have to do is go through, tribunal to get king? It doesn't make any sense to me, personally.
Right. And you don't even have to be lawful to be noble or royal, do you?
No, you don't, and I think it should remain that way. Because not all people who are noble are lawful.
Sure.
They're just born into it.
It's true.
I think that they should change it to something else. I mean, like, magistrate, or I'm sure that's maybe a rank already, but like some high-ranking official, but not the king. It doesn't make sense to me. You'd be like basically like the king's right-hand man if you're leader.
Hand of the king.
Like the Secretary of State,
Of Defense.
The Grand Vizier.
Yes, the Grand Vizier. 2 ducks on a ledge. Only one will emerge victorious.
It drives me bonkers that it's like that.
Yeah. And last, is it last? But not least.
Nope. It's not last. Continue.
Oh. Herald.
Oh, you missed Knight. I was expecting you to miss Herald. You missed Knight.
I missed Knight. Yes, I did. Let's back up. Let's put the hold on Herald. Knight. I thought Knight's whole thing was they're the Knights of the Crown. I thought they were looking for the true king. But
Nothing, Vogue.
Vogue.
Yeah, they are. They're waiting on the king's return, the true king's return.
Well, they just got it's just the leader of council. It's right there. Bada bing, bada boom.
Well, no, but they're not the true king.
Oh.
The true king descended from the original king all the way back some eons ago.
Ooh, divine right of kings.
Kind of.
So do they kind of have natural kind of beef with Tribunal then, since Tribunal imposes itself as...
Yes, which is why you cannot be lawful going into Knight.
Gotcha.
Because they don't believe that the laws of men are the true laws. They would be following the laws of the king.
Gotcha. Okay, that's pretty cool. I think Knight has some of the cooler. I like their colors. I like their whole thing. I think it's cool. Never really had a Knight. Maybe you know what? Maybe I will try that. I did retire the other day from this game, but
I had my first Knight not too long ago. It was a healer, a halfling healer.
A halfling healer. How'd you feel?
Well, I got into Knight and then I never logged in again.
Yeah.
Because,
why?
Well, because goods suck. I don't like playing them. I don't like being friends with everyone. I like playing evils so I can avoid people and chatting with them and being friends with them.
Well, you can be good and completely antisocial. Nothing stopping you there.
That's very true. You can be good and still be a dick,
Yeah, I guess so. You can, but I don't know. I just don't get any enjoyment out of playing good alignment.
Okay. Last but not least, Herald.
Definitely not least. The best Cabal there is, really.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is, but it doesn't have the rich. Well, I take that back. Honestly, the lore behind it, the lore of the help file behind it, makes it seem cool, but to me that's very misleading to what it actually is. Because nowhere in there does it say that you're responsible for posting notes
No, it
for
doesn't.
everybody.
But at the same time, okay. People have allocated Herald to be posting notes, but this doesn't mean this is what you have to do. You can stick your fingers into everything politically
Yeah,
if you wanted, but
sure.
nobody wants to do that.
I
Um,
I
it-
attempted
it-
that with my Herald. I did. That was totally the road I wanted to go down. Was the political road, you know, and
mhm.
try to be in everybody's ear. Like I tried to get really close with all of the high, cabal heads. Like I was there for a lot of the stuff, and I think that's a really cool aspect to
See,
it.
that gets a lot easier when you have more than one person in the cabal, because this way you can start delegating. You can be the liaison to Watcher, and you can be the liaison to Nexus, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a long time before it's, if ever, that it will be to that point where you have enough people to do that.
True. I don't see Herald being full anytime soon, but they've recently had a lot more numbers than they have had in the recent past. I mean, hell, they've got 3 currently, and before it was just like 1 or 2 smattering since even before Dillery.
Yeah, I remember whenever I had my Ogre Warrior Heralds, I mean, I was like the only one for quite a while.
Yeah, and things like that tend to happen, but once you get somebody in there who's starting to at least make ripples, you get more attention drawn to it. But at the same time, people don't go to Herald because they like the PK aspect, and Herald is PK restricted to some degree.
Yeah.
I mean, by all means, go ahead and try to hunt down a Herald and try to beat his ass. Go right ahead. Nothing stopping you from doing it. They are not PK excluded. They are just restricted. They are reactive.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've gotten one. I got Palwyn one time. Palwyn.
Oh, you can kill them. I mean, they're not unkillable. They're just difficult to kill.
Yeah, I think Palwyn
Yeah.
let me. I think Palwyn just got tired of me chasing, so I think they gave up.
And plus, was it trusted? Does that
Yeah.
matters?
Trust or more, it's definitely an uphill battle.
Yeah, they become invincible, trusted.
Virtually.
You're not,
You
it's
just gotta
a,
blind them.
well,
Yeah.
Find a way to blind them, you can kill them, but that's it.
and yeah, with that,
Blind for reduction in proficiency.
so that auto blind. That auto blind.
And fear works great, by the way, against heralds.
Yes, it does.
Their artifacts will blow up.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They'll blow up?
Yep.
Yes. Come on, really? You played a Herald and you don't know that?
I never got in a fight.
Well,
Yeah,
you don't
but
have to. You
somebody's
just
got-
run through Desolation, and the very end mob boss. I think it's the horror. He causes fear, and I'll tell you what. Like on my last herald, I burned through like 5 or 6 different artifacts trying to kill that damn
Yeah.
bastard. I didn't know if I was gonna finish him. I was down to using like my last 2.
And that's with your ogre?
No, this is with the different one.
Really? You've
My
had
last
multiple.
one. Yes.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Forsaken Podcast. We'll be here every 7:30 a.m. on Thursday.
Smile and nod. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be here off and on, or at least I'll probably top into General at some point, but we're going to be heading over to General. Yep.
Yeah.
Take
Cool.
care.
See you in general.
Thanks for
Kill
listening,
Kill
guys.
Craig.
Click that like button. See ya.
Kill Craig.